This video is a bit of a departure from my usual solo travel stories. I'm not in Portugal or Croatia or wandering down some charming European lane. Instead, I want to share a few reflections from a small lakeside town in western Kenya, Mbita, on the shores of Lake Victoria. I realize not many of you watching are planning a trip to Africa, but solo travel opens doors not just to new places, but to new ways of seeing. Mbita has become one of those places for me. I've been going there on and off since 2005. And every time I return, I'm reminded of why travel can be so enriching. This isn't a top 10 things to do video. It's a travelogue, a collection of little things that I notice and remember, the things that make Mbita stick with me. I imagine that those of you who revisit favorite destinations have your own list of sights, sounds, and quirks that make them both memorable and satisfying. If you do, share them in the comments. Mbita town is now home to about 15,000 people, and it sits right on the edge of Lake Victoria. When I first visited, it had a rustic feel. Dirt roads, wooden buildings, fishermen unloading their catch along the shore. The outdoor market ran right down to the water. Women washed clothes in the lake while kids splashed nearby. Men pushed hand carts loaded with jugs of water or long wooden poles across the street. Over the years, a bridge has been built across the causeway. The street's now paved, and the hospital has grown from a handful of buildings into a fairly large complex. The town is changing, but the feel of it remains the same. Mbita's main street is a mix of just about everything. Fruit and vegetable stalls, sisal rope, medicinal herbs, second-hand clothes. Tailors, both men and women, sit at pedal-powered sewing machines, and they can stitch you a shirt in a day. Little kiosks where you can get your hair cut. The town is dusty, sometimes chaotic, and yes, sometimes there are a couple of cows lounging in the middle of the road, with traffic weaving around them. Somehow it still all works. Kids coming home from school wave and call out the usual, "How are you? How are you?" Not really expecting an answer, but loving the interaction. Someone to come and touch my arms, curious about my hair. African men usually have really smooth skin with not so much hair on their body.
They're interested in my white hair and the hair on my arms.
A boy once told me I was like a lion. It's a novelty, one that they remember. And when I take their photo and show it to them on my phone, they squeal with laughter. Sunsets over Lake Victoria are often spectacular. Mbita is close to the equator, so days begin and end like clockwork. Sunrise around 6:30, sunset just after 6:45. I like to end my day with a Tusker Baridi, a cold Kenyan beer, watching the sun slip into the lake before dinner. When I visit Mbita, I usually stay at the Isipi Mbita Guest House. It's perched right on the shore of Lake Victoria on a large, secure campus, just a 10-minute walk outside the main town center. The rooms are comfortable and quiet with Wi-Fi and screened patio or balcony doors, and there are lovely gardens to wander through or just sit and watch the sunset. They offer rooms with king size or with twin beds, full board, that's 3 meals a day, for less than $100. And that makes it easy and convenient, especially if you're staying more than a night or two. It's my go-to home base in Mbita. At night, I sleep under a mosquito net with the patio door open, listening to the water lapping at the shore. Sometimes I hear hippos in the distance, or fishermen heading out in their wooden boats calling across the water. They used to use lanterns, but these days they use LED lights to attract tiny silver fish, omena, towards the surface. From shore, the lake sparkles like a distant village of lanterns. By morning, those same omena are drying on tarps in the sun, tended mostly by women who are keeping the birds away. Omena are eaten fried, boiled, or stewed with onions, tomatoes, and spices. and they're also ground into animal feed for chickens and fish farms. It's one of those modest but vital parts of daily life in Mbita that most visitors might overlook. There are other little things that stay with me, especially in contrast to life back home in Canada. Pineapple cut from the plant that morning that tastes juicy and sweet and tender, quite unlike the pineapple that I find in the grocery stores at home. Fresh mangoes, sometimes made into a mango crisp in a wood stove. Trying to remember to take my daily malaria pill, or trying to remember to brush my teeth with bottled water. No ice cream. I'm an ice cream junkie at home, and while the food in East Africa is satisfying, a good scoop of chocolate ice cream can be really hard to come by. Frequent blackouts. The electricity cuts out and then comes back on without warning. I've learned not to worry unless I need to charge my phone. It'll come back eventually. Monitor lizards, 3 feet long, scurrying through the grass like small dinosaurs. The first time I saw one, I thought I was hallucinating. They're harmless but unforgettable, and almost stepping on one in the grass, wow, it can be quite a surprise. Boda drivers calling out to me, eager to take me on a ride on their motorcycle. Anywhere. Jambo Mzungu, do you need a ride? Hammercop birds calling from their massive stick nests. Fish eagles soaring along the shoreline at dusk, and colorful little sunbirds darting amongst the flowers. And a ginger soda called Stoney's Tangawizi. Fiery, fizzy, and perfect on a hot day. I've never seen it sold outside of East Africa. After so many visits, Mbita no longer feels unfamiliar. I can walk down the street and run into someone I haven't seen in years who still remembers my name. I may be the only white person on the street, but I always feel welcomed. The hospitality here is quiet, genuine, and not a performance for tourists. Mbita still feels like a frontier town. It's developing and expanding, but it hasn't lost its essence. It's a place where you can slow down, listen, and pay attention. And every time I leave, I take a little bit of it with me. If you ever get a chance to spend a few days in a place that's completely different from your own culture, take it. It will challenge your assumptions, deepen your understanding, and probably stay with you far longer than you expect. You don't have to go to Africa, but go somewhere different. Stay a little longer and notice the small things. If you enjoy reflective travel stories like this one, I've got more of them. Please like and subscribe. Safe travels. See you next time.